Hey everybody, Andy Hudson here with MIHOA. It's MIHOA Live, MIHOA Live, here from a beautiful St. Louis, Missouri, and got a little bit of a late start there. That's okay. The hockey game is still going to begin, whether it begins a few minutes late or not. Very special guest with us, a fellow MIHOA member today, and a fellow Andy, which just makes him 100% more special. We got Andy Bethmann. There he is, my friends. What's up, dude?
Buddy, I'm so excited to be here with that announcement a couple minutes ago. Just getting geared up, ready for the season, man.
All right. You got a pink linesman sweater over your left shoulder. I think it's your left shoulder. Yeah. What do we got going on there?
Well, that particular sweater is 14 years old. I think we wore that in the USHL. Back then, we'd wear it for specific games, and that would have been the 06-07 season. And that was in Indianapolis at the time, where Gretzky actually played in the WHA, that same arena. They had his sweater hanging from the rafters there, but they no longer have that team in the league. But that was a cool night, and they had a survivor drop the puck and stuff like that. Always doing cool stuff. Seemed like stuff like that started a while back, and now we see a lot more frequent.
Yeah, for sure. So Wayne Gretzky, right? Not his brother Brent.
Not Brett. It was Wayne, the greater
Brett.
one.
Okay. I saw a meme out there that was like the top two brothers in scoring in the National Hockey League, and it says Gretzky, however many, 900, and then Brett 4.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you see that?
Crazy. Yeah, it's kind of like me and my brother.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, since we went there, well, you know what? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little background about Andy Bethmann, and you can talk about your brother if you really want to.
Not yet. That's too much of that. Andy Bethmann. This coming year will be my 20th season in USA Hockey. I'll be starting my 9th year teaching. I went to Missouri State for my undergrad, and I went to Lindenwood for my master's and finishing up my specialist at Lindenwood this summer.
Awesome. And what are you studying? What are you getting your master's in?
The master's was for administration, like a school principal, and this specialist is in like superintendency. Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to get all that stuff out of the way before the baby comes, when I won't have any time to do stuff like that. So
yeah. So your wife is expecting. Do you know? If
9 months. She's 37 weeks. So,
oh, wow. She's right in the wheelhouse. It could happen anytime. So folks, if you're watching and we get a quick call here, we'll phone a friend. Maybe we'll phone the other Bethmann in to replace you.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. It could be any minute now. And she's ready. I'm ready. So
all right.
Good to go.
Well, congratulations. Do we know what the name is going to be yet? Or
Blake Lucille. Lucille. Yeah. It's going to be a little BB.
Okay.
We're excited.
That's awesome. Way to go. So we've already mentioned your brother. You started officiating when you were how old?
I was just turning 14. We started together.
Okay, so you and Danny started together.
We started together, yeah. And let's see, the seminar was at Kirkwood. Our mom dragged us there. She said, "You're going to learn how to ref and get a job, and I'm going to West County Mall." And she came and picked us up about 8 hours later, and it's been a lot of the same ever since.
Yeah, but and you both went to Missouri State. You both played hockey there for the ACHA team, if I'm not mistaken. Did you play all 4 years, both of you, or? So
we played a year at Lindenwood. So that would have been 06-07. We transferred down there. We actually visited Missouri State. We were dead set on going there, but we got a little money to go to Lindenwood, so we tried that out. Wanted the bigger school experience. And at the time, too, they had a junior A team down there, so I thought I was going to get the ref down there and play. And by the time we ended up there, the team was gone, but we had started playing for Missouri State. And Danny played 2 more years, and I played 3 more years in Missouri State.
Okay. And so your officiating career kind of took off when you were a student at Missouri State. And I think Danny maybe took a little break or just put it in the back burner, but talk about how you kind of got more into it when you were a student and what that was like.
Well, backtracking even a little before then, I remember, what we all know this name, but I was playing in Mid-State Summer League at that time, and Scott Bach was on the ice, and he knew I was a young official, and kind of said, "Hey, how serious are you is officiating?" I said, "As serious as I know." And so 2 weeks later, me and Brian Beckstrom and Bachel drove up to Chicago. We were skating in front of the junior bosses. A month after that, we were at junior camp together. And so my senior year of high school, I was doing some ACHA, some juniors. We had 2 teams at the time. And then that following year, went to Lindenwood and we were playing. And I had a really good start. And so I started to get USHL assignments and I was like, man, I really need to make a decision here. So at December, after first semester, I said, I'm going to try and just focus on the officiating thing. And that was the year before Missouri State.
Okay, great. So then that took you into the USHL and you started maybe lining, I assume, that league. And then you eventually transitioned into maybe work in the UHL. Maybe you showed me something before we went live. You got that right by you there?
Yeah, well, right here, this is United Hockey League book right there. And there
you go.
This is 06, 07.
Okay.
Would have been 19 years old. Luckily, I looked a little older because I would have taken a lot of heat. But there was a lot, that was big boy hockey back then still. That's when you had to be big, to line, and, they just wanted you to be ready for a fight at any time. I just can't imagine the changes I've seen in 15 years from what it was when I was getting started. And, now you're just hoping to see any type of aggression or any type of accountability out there. But yeah, it was a different world back then.
Did they still have red line offside, 2-line pass when you were doing that?
I only did 2-line. I did 2-line pass one game when the Junior Blues were playing in October. The next week they changed it and pulled it out. That was it. Okay. One game.
Yeah, I tell you what, when they took the red line out, because when I used to work the UHL and I did a few in the ECHL too. We still had the red line. And it helped out so much for the 3-man system because the referee had time to curl and there weren't these long bomb passes. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot of people watching might be like, what the heck is going on? What's a 2-line pass? Speaking of who's watching, let's see if there's anybody watching right now that we know. Let me look in here. I'm sure there's like thousands of people watching you.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Yeah. Jeff Ladd. Is that a common name?
That's a buddy of mine. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, if you're watching, let us know. Put in the comments. You can hit comments there. If you're watching on MIHOA.com, you might need to click over into YouTube and then put some comments in there. Tell us who you are, where you're watching from, and if you have any questions, or if you just want to. And he says Andy Bethmann is my friend, by the way. So I'm sure you paid him for that. But if you want to put anything in there, if you want to chirp Andy or his twin brother, even though he's not here, go ahead and chirp him. I'll be sure to read him out for that. So, so then you started getting more serious with it, obviously. And once you finished school, you got more serious. Vaughn Upton says, missing you both, by the way. What's up, Vaughn?
There you go.
Missing you too, my friend. But what was it like? Talk about, like, for some of these young officials that we work with now that may be getting ready to go into college, depending what college looks like. And I officiated all the way through college myself, but this was many, many moons ago. But you have a more recent experience. What was it like officiating in college and the college experience and playing and juggling all of that? And, maybe some tips and tricks or wisdom to help people balance that.
No, it was hectic, and I knew it going in. I knew I was putting a lot on my plate. But to start out, my best advice would be, to today's hockey player, if you are reffing or playing, to continue to play as long as you can. Back then when the higher you went, I was like, you really need to make a decision. And I was kind of like, well, I want my cake and eat it too. It was like, I wanted to be a college student and play hockey with my brother, but I also wanted to be, a minor league linesman. And so I don't know how I ended up doing both, but it was hectic. I know my hockey coach was super supportive. He was an official down in Springfield at the time. And I kind of told him, I said, hey, listen, I'd love to play, but I can't play all the time. you know, my contract in the USHL said full time, which meant that I was going to get more money, you know, as opposed to part time, and that was a big difference when you're 19, 20 years old. So it, you know, it depended where I was skating that weekend. Like, for example, there was a couple of times where we'd skate on a Thursday night at University of Illinois. So I'd go up and play on Thursday. I'd drive separate from the team bus. And then on Friday or Saturday, I'd go ref in Chicago and Green Bay, and then meet them home on Sunday. But being at college, it kept me grounded. It kept me constantly, you know, it made me more mature because I knew that I had to do it or I was just going to fail. And I just remember when Monday rolled around, Monday was like my Saturday night. But my Tuesday professors didn't like that, but that's just kind of how it was. I had a little bit of normalcy I needed.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, so if we need to get your credit card out on a Monday night, that's the night to do it.
Yeah. Monday Night Football.
Oh, yeah, good. Okay. So one thing that I've really admired about you, and I'm not kissing your butt, but is the fact that you've chatted up hockey to a lot of people, like at officiating specifically. So I know there's a lot of members in our association right now that were more or less recruited by you and maybe your brother too. So why don't you talk about some of those members and maybe a success story there?
Yeah, you know, it has kind of added up over the years. I mean, I can think of, you know, Ryan Armstrong going down to Springfield to play at Missouri State and getting him into it. And I can think of Pat Simmons we were driving up to Eagle River, Wisconsin on a pond hockey trip and talking him into it. I can think of Sean Fitzpatrick moving home from Stony Brook and still playing hockey, going to get his master's and needed a part-time job. Well, what's a better part-time job? Keeps you on the ice than reffing hockey. And really probably the best, like the one I can think of at the beginning was my brother, getting him back into it. When we went down to Missouri State, you know, mom and dad are like, that's fine, but you got to get him back into reffing because you have all the money and we're tired of giving him ours. So he's got to get back into reffing. And so there we went.
Yeah. So I'm sure your parents now are just thanking you left and right for getting him back into it. So he owes them big time, more than he knows. You know, there was no way that he wasn't going to get a little bit of grief on this broadcast.
Oh, there's no chance. I mean,
yeah.
Never, you know, I kind of felt bad for him after a while because he was getting the big brother treatment real hard for a while. Because I mean, I was going on the weekends working with guys that are really good and then coming home and working with my twin brother and saying, listen, if I'm doing this out here, you need to be doing the same thing. But I can't think of a better way of teaching somebody, you know, just the same way as guys taught me. I had to go out there and be that young guy. And Scott Backel, Jimmy Carrico, John Wells, they're saying, hey, you better step it up. And Jerry Bird, I mean, all those guys back then, everybody was so supportive when I was starting off, and it helped me, encourage me to keep going, working harder.
Yeah, awesome. Ryan S. is tuning in, says, hey, Andy and Huddy, congrats on expecting Andy. I guess that's you. Expecting, because I'm done. So that's probably Ryan. Oh, I don't know. That's Ryan Schrader. Ryan. Oh, who knows? Ryan, type in. What Ryan are you? Okay, you're gonna surprise us. We're both gonna be like, oh yeah, Ryan. So you started. What got you into NCAA? Was it the Lindenwood Women's, and how did it kind of grow into working men's hockey too?
Yeah, well, so Gino Benda and Bob DiGregorio showed up 2012, 2013 summer. I want to say summer of heading into 2013, and said, hey, is there anybody in St. Louis that can ref? And I mean, at that time, guys are really starting to get going. I mean, I can think of Scott Backel was at that skate. Craig Neal was at that skate. Joe Sullivan was at that skate. And so we had a really good showing, and Tepi Sakuma did such a great job of preparing Gino Benda with our guys and, you know, resumes and stuff like that. And so, you know, the St. Louis guys started doing Lindenwood women's games. We're getting rated really high. Everybody took it extremely serious, because anytime you hear those four letters NCAA, you know, you want to work as hard as you can because you don't want to leave. And so my brother and I went up and did a conference tournament when we got selected to do the women's conference tournament in Buffalo. 4 or 5 years after, and the next year we were skating men's, and we just finished our third year doing men's for Atlantic NCAA.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Those must be fun games.
I can't speak highly enough of the organization and the NCAA and the conference and the professionalism. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, yeah.
It is.
So it was Ryan Saffer, by the way. Sorry, Ryan. I should have known. Good. Ryan. You've been on here, and he says that you got him started officiating too. You caught him during an H&A game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you think about that. Some of the guys that maybe you told. Sometimes there's guys that you're telling, hey, the seminar's in August. You're kidding, and they're like, oh, well, I'm going to be there to show that I can do it better than you. I'm like, that's great.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out there. We'll take everybody.
So Vaughn Upton says, out of the twins, who's the better ref and who's the better liney? So do you want me to answer that, Vaughn, or do you want one of the twins to answer?
Well, yeah, I'll tell you what, we've worked so many games together. It's one of those times where we kind of know, like, hey, he's having a big game. He's picking me up, vice versa. I mean, there's been plenty of times where I go, needed you there, and vice versa. So it's, I don't want to say there's a better one or the other, but more like, we want to be our best every game, no matter what it is, because we share the same nameplate. So yeah, we want to make sure we're doing a good job.
That's awesome. What's the funniest thing that's happened with, having an identical twin out there on the ice? What do you think is the funniest story you can remember?
A lot of double takes, a lot of, you guys brothers, you guys twins, like all the time, and it's fun. It's fun because it relieves a lot of kind of angst, because we're usually fire back with a quick joke or something like that. Or if somebody goes, hey, you missed that, that wasn't me, that was him, and how do they know? I mean, we look pretty identical on the ice. So it really kind of relieves, having that joking manner with players and coaches and stuff like that, it kind of relieves some stress, it seems like. So it's constant though.
Okay.
It is.
Well, maybe we'll get the next Bethmann generation to officiate, and we can have a 3 official crew one of these days.
I'd like that.
Ryan Saffer says, what league as a ref have you enjoyed working the most? So I'll throw that one to you.
I mean, the NCAA is phenomenal, but I will tell you, since I was a senior in high school, I've been doing Lindenwood hockey games around here, and talk about a professional team, professional organization between the players, Rick Zombo, Mark Abney. I mean, it's pretty good feeling as an official anytime you can head to a rink and know that you're going to get treated with respect, and they know that you're going to put as much effort in the game as you can because you have respect for them and you have respect for the game. So I do schedule Lindenwood for the most part here, and it's a top priority. It really is top priority.
Yeah. And even the women's team, I mean, those are, and maybe you're talking about that too.
All the whole spectrum. Gary Gardner. Yes. I mean, it's great. They've really molded into a phenomenal organization. ACHA has gotten so good. It's phenomenal, but Lindenwood is just a different level right now. They put so much time, effort, and money into it.
Yeah. First class for sure. First class. Let's move over to like some special events you've worked. I know you worked some sled events, which are fantastic. I mean, you and I have worked some together. You have a favorite sled event you've worked?
Well, we just had the NHL Sled Classic here. When was that? November. That was a busy month. You were extremely helpful on that too. I know the national tournament's coming next April. Hopefully, if this COVID stuff hasn't messed that up, I think that's coming back to Centene, which will be a tremendous event. Be a good opportunity for our guys as well. But last April, I was in Czech Republic doing the World Championship. It was the year after the latest Winter Paralympics, and an event like that, it's different than IIHF. It's called the IPC. That's the organization, and it consists of a ton of volunteers, people that are really doing it for the love of the game, and you don't leave there every day with just a great feeling. The athletes are unbelievable. The volunteers are unbelievable. The coaches are unbelievable. Everybody's just trying to grow the sport. So any type of positive feedback or anything you can get to raise the sport up is huge. And everybody's on the same page there. Nobody's there trying to show anybody up. It's just everybody's there for the love of the game.
Yeah, and going back to the one in November that we hosted here, the NHL Sled Classic, that was the first one I'd worked. I'd worked some sled games locally, but man, that was like probably the most fun event that I've ever worked. I mean, and I've done like maybe 12 or 13 nationals. I've done some regionals and stuff like that, but that was hands down the most fun that you will have on the ice.
Yeah, and I think the Friday night game was like St. Louis versus Boston, 4,000, 5,000 people there.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to see because there's so many they're starting to get so many notoriety, and the St. Louis players, Steve Cash, Josh Pauls, amongst a few others, it's just, they're world class. They got more gold medals hanging up than I've ever seen.
Yeah. Yeah. And probably more than you have. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So now I sense a little bit of sarcasm in this question from your buddy, Jeff Ladd, but he says, between you and Danny, who has officiated at the highest level, and what can you do to replicate your brother's success? I don't know. It seems a little sarcastic. Is he a sarcastic guy?
Danny? Oh man, that's going to be a fun conversation later. I like
All
that.
Right. Well, we'll move on. We'll move on. Sorry, Jeff. That may be a legit question, Jeff, but we sense a little sarcasm there. Maybe get a little competition going. So, we started the MIHOA Development and Education Program a couple years ago, and I've been really happy with how that whole thing has grown. And when I say we, I mean the MIHOA board and all of our schedulers and everybody that's singing from the same sheet of music. But talk about your role in the past couple of years about identifying some of our younger officials that have potential to move up to higher levels.
Yeah, I mean, it's been great. Obviously, if anybody doesn't know this, he's the one that spearheads it. Without him, MIHOA would really be in a tough spot. But development education, that's what it's about. We're talking about retention. How do we keep officials in St. Louis, Midwest, nationally? And, we start with running the seminars. So, it might be a 1, 2, 3, or 4 seminar. You'll see one of our faces there, our partner, Bob Pugh. And it's a familiar face you want to see. You can reach out. You have problems or questions like that. And start from the seminars. It moves into our development program, which I do a lot with. And we've had probably 4 or 5 officials that we've moved into the junior ranks the last couple of years, just from working locally in St. Louis, working with them, and getting them out in the ice, doing some junior blues games and stuff like that. And we just try to create a camaraderie where guys, if they have questions, they can reach out. I mean, I know working on the road for many years, calling guys after the game. How was your game? What went wrong? What went right? What are you going to do next time? That's what we kind of want to get back locally. So guys are calling each other, discussing things, because that's how you learn. So we're trying to create that dialogue and stuff like that. We're trying to give guys opportunity. We want young officials or even guys that are working in their late 20s, give them opportunities that maybe they didn't know they had.
Yeah, for sure. What's been most exciting with me about it is, and I've been with MIHOA since 1999, so over 20 years, I think this sport, you hear the word good boy, old boy network every once in a while, and I think by nature, officiating probably in any sport, there's going to be some of that. But what I'm really excited about is seeing some of those young guns and those young officials that we've kind of mentored and developed on the way, really getting excited and enthused and energized about it, because you and I have both, been in that mode, in different years. I'm a little bit older than you, but by a year or two. But that, to me, that's been the best thing, seeing these guys get excited about it, and the competition that they have with each other to kind of like not show each other up, but to really show what they've got.
Yeah. Friendly competition. That's what makes you better. And, you need to compete out there. It's like hockey players that are trying out. We got officials that are trying out for opportunities and stuff like that. you can't work every single game. So sometimes the cream rises to the top, but we're excited for some of the guys we got, and we're always looking for more. I know that when I'm watching a young guy succeeding doing a game, I get almost more excited than making a good call in a game. It's like, it's a good feeling to see guys succeed.
Yeah. And what do you think are the common traits of some of these young guys that we've now seen, moving up the ladder from when they started at age 13 or 14 and now they're like 20? What are the common traits that those guys have? Because I think that's important for young officials to hear.
Well, we always fall in love with skating first. That's one of those things that you can work on you can work on when you're skating games, even when you're skating lower level games, or if you take the extra time to go to even public sessions and stuff like that. But we always fall in love with those skaters and guys that aren't afraid to make the right call. It's so hard sometimes. I mean, I know I have a passive personality, I would say, by nature, but making the right call, you're going to get a lot more respect than if you're letting guys cheat and stuff like that. So we're looking for guys that kind of have that character trait. Also, people that take the time to read the rule book. I mean, there's a lot of rules in there. It seems like I pick up a couple more each year, and I'm like, holy moly, I've been doing this 20 years, and I didn't even know that. So the total package is what we want. But sometimes you got to work on some other aspects.
No, that's true. Yeah, the skating's important, and you said the confidence to make the big call and the right call, and that's just the self-confidence that this pastime kind of gives you is fantastic. So 30 minutes goes fast. Do you believe it's almost 30 minutes?
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. And we try to keep these at 30, but we're gonna go a little bit longer because I just want your idea of, obviously hockey's on pause right now. I heard that there might be some good news with the NHL today, and maybe we'll see some NHL coming back. But what are some things guys can be doing right now here in May or almost June to get ready for the upcoming season while we're not playing hockey?
Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to do it. I mean, I certainly have put on a couple, but it's not for lack of trying. I know early on in this pandemic, I was doing a lot of circuit training and really working on the cardio, raising the blood pressure, getting the heart rate going a little bit. But I've also, I think this is a good time to kind of work on leg strength and building that strength up to kind of hopefully hold for the rest of the season. I mean, you don't see a lot of guys doing leg workouts during the season. And then trying to maintain your cardio. It's hard to create that skating off the ice. You're always going to feel it the first couple of times you get back, but this is not the time to let yourself go. I can tell you that, because guys are going to hit the ice running hard this year early, and it's a great time to be in the rule book. I mean, what else are you going to do? I know a couple of nights ago, I was sitting and watching reruns for the 100th time and I got the ECHL rule book out. Now, in a couple of days, I might get the USA Hockey book out and just kind of work on the mental reps too. I know it's hard, not being on the ice for this amount of time, you're losing the mental reps as well as the physical reps. So you got to be working both angles. Yeah,
for sure. And we're in the process of finalizing all of our seminar dates. We have 2 out of the 3 super seminars in St. Louis finalized. We're still working on one either in late August. So we got August 8th, I think. August 8th at Creve Coeur, October 3rd at Centene, and then we're working on one either in late August or early September. So stay tuned for that if you're watching. We're also, many of you may already know this, but we had to make a tough decision. Tim Peel camp has been canceled for this year. The main thing about that, and I'm just kind of getting on my soapbox right now, is the best part about that event and any camp that you have a chance to attend is the camp experience, the camaraderie you build with the fellow campers. And we just didn't feel like we could provide that with social distancing and maybe thinking of guys wearing masks. Yeah. I mean, the best part about it is high-fiving and goofing around and playing ice ball and, so we decided to cancel this year. We're going to come back bigger and better next year. Hopefully you'll come back as an instructor.
Yeah.
Okay. We'll invite you.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
It's good. But we have a few more comments, then we're going to wrap it up, Andy. But Keith David, who's on. Hey, Keith, he says, MIHOA is development education does a great job. Keep up the good work. Thank you, Keith. We appreciate that.
Very good.
And Vaughn says, appreciate everything both of you guys have done for us. And thank you guys enough for what you've done for us. Thank you, Vaughn. We appreciate it. You keep working hard, my friend. Vaughn's a great example of one of our young guys who's really grown into a confident young official. I think he's about 20 now, maybe. So good stuff. Well, thank you very much. It's already 5 o'clock. Got any closing comments or closing chirps for your brother?
I mean, I chirp him every day, all day. I'm running out of material. Where do we start? So I don't know. I'm just so excited. I'm excited with the NHL announcement today. I can't wait to get back on the ice. Let's get back out there, man. I miss it. I need it.
Yeah, me too. Next week, we have Josh Horowitz joining us, who's, speaking of young officials, who's done fantastic. He started when he was 12. I was his instructor, okay, at Maryville University when we had him in the classrooms there. He never stopped talking the whole day. And he knows that. We've talked about it. But he's grown, and not only has he grown tall, he's 6'3", something like that. He's really grown into a great young official. So he's going to join us next week. So it'll be good to get a perspective of a young official. And then Jay Shares, who I love, and I know you, he's fantastic.
Man,
he's one of my favorites.
That's a name there.
Yeah, he's going to join us 2 weeks from today. So he'll probably get more viewers than you, Beth.
Yeah, I think so. Well deserved. He's got a couple more Stanley Cup finals than I do, I think, as well.
Yeah, me too. All right. So good to see you. Good luck with the baby coming. Say hey to the missus.
Yes.
All right. Take care. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.
Yep.
See you,
Good luck next week.
All right. See ya.